Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Richard Chaplin and the founder and chief executive of the Managing Partners Forum, and I'm your proud host for today's ceremony. Now, the awards that we are about to celebrate are Management Excellence Awards, and they recognize the vital contribution of management to the business of professional services firms. Now, as you'll hear from many of the winning entries, that contribution was vital during the pandemic, at times verging on existential. Now, in common with all forum events, the awards have an important educational dimension. So I'll be conducting live interviews with a representative from each of the winning firms on the challenges that they faced and how they went about resolving them. And I'm sure you'll be inspired by hearing about their fantastic achievements. As you know, the Forum's awards are grouped under three themes, each with multiple categories. And these are the themes, you can see them on the slide. So helping your clients be more productive, enabling your community to flourish, and making your business more productive. Now, in addition to announcing winners for each category, we will also be recognizing 3 Best in Theme winners at the end of the ceremony. And we're also giving an Exceptional Achievement Award to an individual who has made a significant contribution to our sector. And I hope you met some interesting people in the networking session. There's another opportunity at the midpoint break and also after the ceremony. Now, before the winners are announced, I would like to invite Neville Eisenberg, who is the chair of the Forum's advisory board, to say a few words.
Thank you, Richard, and hello, everybody. I'd like to add my welcome to this evening's awards. Last year, I reported that the Forum was attracting large numbers of new members and anticipating some of the highest levels of renewals since its formation in 1995, and how this augured well for the future. My core message today is very similar, with more new members and even higher levels of renewals. I would like to thank each and every member for their continued support and engagement. As chair of the Forum's advisory board, I have seen firsthand how well the Forum has adapted to the changes resulting from the pandemic. As a recognized representative body to government for the UK's largest sector, we focus on 4 national priorities relevant to the professions, namely business skills, innovation, productivity, and levelling up. In relation to business skills, I'd like to highlight 3 of our initiatives. Firstly, our formal peer groups go from strength to strength with more members than ever. Our thanks to moderators Richard Thorby and Nicole Backman, and to our head of memberships, Claire Mitchell, for her tenacity in forming new groups. Our mentor match program, organized jointly with our sister association, the PM Forum, was launched in February as a public good. It combines an algorithm to identify matches and a personal dashboard for all stages of the mentorship journey. I'm delighted to report that the program has already resulted in 44 new mentorships. And thirdly, this week sees the 75th episode of the Retuning Your Firm show, hosted by Richard. It is much more than a free panel session, with the findings of live polls shared with government and over 250 videos of full shows and presentations by guests, attracting hundreds of views every month. The second priority is innovation, and rather than promoting specific solutions, we provide advice and tools to facilitate the innovation process, in particular encouraging the use of design sprints. Our recent Innovation Summit showed how any board can use professionally designed whiteboards to help resolve business challenges. The third priority is productivity. The Forum defines productivity as the product of, firstly, what is done to people, and second, how they feel about it. That is to say, employee engagement. We observe that leadership style has a strong influence on the level of employee engagement. For example, those leaders that practice challenge and support, the default style at most professional service firms, typically enjoy far higher levels of employee engagement than those that practice command and control, the default at most corporates. These original insights have resulted in 2 active public campaigns. Firstly, urging leadership teams at professional service firms who practice challenge and support to share their approach with their peers at clients. And secondly, urging those responsible for shortlisting non-executive director roles at corporates to expand their searches to include those with direct experience of challenge and support leadership. And the 4th priority is leveling up. An ideal outcome is a firm in a prosperous area transferring some of its less profitable work to a firm in a less prosperous area with lower costs. We are developing an online marketplace to facilitate these types of transactions. Finally, our committees and HQ may come up with great ideas and initiatives. However, effective marketing of content and messages to key audiences is also essential. Thanks are due to our head of marketing, Larissa Hale, for the dramatic growth in traffic, page impressions, and followers on the forum's LinkedIn site in recent months. Coming back to tonight, the forum has once again cleverly woven together so many of the live elements of an in-person awards ceremony, with the added benefit of being unaffected by train strikes. We are on tables with colleagues and guests. We are eager to hear the judge's verdict, but a bit nervous about being interviewed live if successful. And what a fantastic venue, the garden of an Italian villa complete with birdsong, and in fact, some Italian weather outside. Thanks also to our fantastic knowledge partners, the Harvard Business Review and the Financial Times, and to a fabulous set of category sponsors. Without your collective support, these awards, now in their 20th year, would not have been possible. Finally, it gives me huge pleasure to be joined by so many colleagues and friends from across the professions. To all of you, thank you for finding the time to participate. And if you are from a shortlisted firm, best of luck. Thank you, and back to you, Richard.
I really wanted to say from my side that we are incredibly fortunate to have Neville as the chair of the forum's advisory board. So let's start with the client theme. And let's remind ourselves of the description that was so important in shaping submissions for this theme. And I'm reading here, the pandemic has brought clarity over the advisors who are truly client-centric. Does your frontline describe themselves solely by reference to their expertise, law, accountancy, architecture, or also by their contribution to their clients? The first category is best new solutions for clients. And before the winner is announced, please welcome Sami Biyibi of sponsors Thomson Reuters HiQ to the stage.
Hi, Richard. Thank you.
Oh, delighted you can join us, Sami. You haven't got the same problems that Neville had on the tech. That's a relief. But you do work for a tech. You do work for a tech company, so I wouldn't expect anything else. Very good. So anyway, let's go through and talk about who are the finalists for your category for best new solutions for clients. And we have 4 of them. First of all, Bird & Bird. Secondly, Denton's. Third is Shoesmiths. And 4th is Watson, Farley and Williams. So let's move on. And in second place, we have Watson, Farley and Williams. Congratulations to them. And now it's really over to you, Sami, to announce the winner.
Thank you, Richard. And the winner is Shoesmiths.
Okay, and please welcome Simon McCardle.
Hi there, guys.
Hi, Simon. That's
Hi,
brilliant.
Simon.
That was really quick work. I was going to talk about all your submission and how you had sort of, what should we say, you're going to do this amazing stuff. So we'll talk about it in a minute, but I really just wanted from the behalf of the forum and also our sponsor to thank you hugely for congratulations to you. And now we'll head on with a few questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Richard.
So let's just talk about me. I think I've seen your logo already, so that's all good. We were talking here about an AI solution that could accurately analyze commercial contracts and suggestive corrective measures. And I really had a few sort of questions, if I may. I mean, first of all, this tool that you've created, I'm not sure I can pronounce it, but you no doubt can tell me how it's
SIA.
pronounced. SIA, thank you. SIA, I shall call it SIA. But what's the accuracy level you're finding of your tool compared with human beings?
It's a great question, Richard. So we've got the accuracy level up into the high 90s now. Speaking rather embarrassedly on behalf of the human race, when tested, lawyers tend to clock in somewhere in the mid 80s in terms of accuracy. So the AI is actually already starting to outperform us human beings on certain tasks.
Okay. And now most AI tools rely on comparing a document with a reference set to identify anomalies. And what you're doing sounds very innovative. How have you trained your machine to review contracts in isolation?
So again, yeah, there is no reference set, or there is no reference contract that SIA is comparing each new contract to. SIA actually is SIA has been trained to ask over almost 300 individual questions of each contract, and depending on the answers to each of those questions, it will provide relevant corrective drafting and relevant commentary on that drafting, which does set it apart from sort of standard comparative tools in that respect.
And presumably, and again, we're kind of coming up to time now, that means your lawyers need less training on using the tool?
The lawyers, not only do they need less training, but SIA is actually a phenomenal training tool, because it helps it helps flag these issues for our lawyers who are all using this equipment already.
And finally, quick question and quick answer maybe. You talk, I know, about 3 hours work in the time it takes to make a cup of tea. And one of your clients said that you're giving them a day a week. What sort of time savings are you hoping for your clients for using this tool?
So genuinely, on a single contract review, we are seeing 3 to 5 hours worth of savings, and we've been running live demos with clients where we actually test it. We send the client off to make a cup of tea. We were beaten once, Richard, where someone had an Nespresso machine on their desk, but I think we can all agree that was cheating.
Okay, well, look, that's fantastic, Simon, and many congratulations again. And now we're time to move on to the next category. So congratulations to Simon. So the second category is to the area of best collaboration with clients. And I'd like to mention, she's already with me, she's really quick on the mark, is Sheena McDermott, who is the head of leadership and management programs at our sponsors, Be the Business. Welcome, Sheena, and delighted you can join us today. And as I said, we haven't met before, so this is a virtual e-meeting, so even better. So let's talk through the people who have been shortlisted for your category. And the finalists are A&L Goodbody, Arthur Cox, Mason, Hayes and Curran. And anybody's thinking, aren't they all Irish firms? Well, they actually all have an English presence. Would maybe wondering, is there going to be a fourth Irish firm? But it isn't, it's Meridian West. So there you go. So anyway, those are your 4 shortlisted firms. And we'll just run through and talk about who's in second place. And in second place is the Arthur Cox. And now it's over to you, Sheena, to announce the winner.
Pleasure to do so. The winner today is A&L Goodbody.
Fantastic. And I wanted to now welcome Paula Reed to the stage. Hopefully you can join us. Hi, Paula. How are you?
Hello, Richard. Hello, Sheena.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
I think the last time I saw you was when we did the in-person show in London all those years ago. So it's lovely to have you back as a winner once again. So congratulations on that. Whilst Sheena is leaving, I would now like to kind of talk a little bit about your entry, and if I may ask you some questions as to help the people who are in the audience a little bit more about it. And let's start with something fairly basic, if I may, and which is a lot of people in the audience use the term knowledge management without really knowing what it means. Why do you think it's important for a firm to have a strong KM capability? What sort of difference does it make, do you find?
Well, I mean, I guess as somebody who spent most of their professional life in a KM role, I have always felt it's critical to a lot of things. Obviously, business efficiency. I also think it's really important in terms of just generating a good atmosphere. You know, the systems which are needed to make KM work hinge on good behaviors in lawyers. And I think when you have those systems becoming embedded, then that actually succeeds with, you know, driving the right culture. So it's a win-win at both a business and at a people level.
And one of the points you make in the submission is about the journey that a GC, a client, might go through between wanting to do knowledge management and practical implementation. I mean, what do you find are the hurdles? Is this about time, or is it maybe mindset? I mean, well, why is it that GCs seem to need this help on that journey?
I think the GCs that we've worked with are absolutely, you know, very focused and interested in having a KM solution. I think the struggle that we see is that oftentimes they don't actually have a bespoke, you know, KM support function. And so therefore it's very difficult for them to achieve, you know, consistent momentum with any knowledge initiative. And as you know, Rome is certainly not built in a day when it comes to knowledge initiatives. And therefore, you know, people can just lose the will to. Yes, that piece was the behind the toolkit we developed for GCs.
And have you found that it is a catalyst for conversations with clients around problem solving? Is that what you're finding now that you're using it?
I think it is, because I think the other, I guess, factor that we've seen and we know, which I'm sure will resonate with the audience, is, you know, the GCs typically may not have a significant budget to spend on knowledge initiatives. And so I guess at the heart of this toolkit is really very simple solutions which are centered on behaviors and on people, as opposed to, you know, suggestions that they need to make some big tech investment. And so it takes the GC through the life cycle of a KM journey, from the very basic, I guess, kickoff question: what do we need to, you know, what maybe a good KM solution might look like, but broken down into bite-sized pieces. And I guess.
Well, quick last question, if I may. I mean, do you think do you see it becoming a revenue stream in its own right, or do you see it more around helping your enhance relationships with your clients?
Very much the latter. Certainly, currently we think it's about, you know, assisting client legal teams, and I think there are great synergies between a knowledge team in a law firm and, you know, a legal team supporting a business. And I think empathy is at the heart of a lot of good knowledge solutions for client legal teams. So it's very much in that supportive space.
Okay, well, we're going to have to call it a day there now, but congratulations again, Paula.
Thank you.
Do pass the message back to Dublin and all the other good cities that you're in. And congratulations.
Thank you so much, Richard.
Your
Thank
win.
you.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, and we now come to the final category for the client theme. So the sponsor for that theme, for Best Enhanced Solutions for Clients, is Future. Now, I'm really sorry, but David unfortunately can't be here today, so I'm going to play David's role as the MC. But let's move on now and actually work out who are the finalists, who are the shortlisted firms that were put forward for this particular category. So here they are. First of all, it was Denton's. The second finalist, the second shortlisted firm, was Lancer Group from the US of A. Third is Shoesmiths. I wonder if they can be successful again, who knows? And lastly, it's Waitman's. So let's look and let's work out who is in the joint second place. In joint second place are Denton's and Waitman's. So congratulations to both of you. And now it's up to me, because David sadly can't be with us, to announce the winner. And the winner is Shoesmiths. So please welcome Nancy Allen to the stage. Hi, Nancy. Welcome. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thanks so much.
Fantastic. Really, really good. Fantastic news. So I'll just tell people a little bit about what your entry was all about. It's an extensive non-lawyer led client listening program, and that effectively revealed lots of business needs that extended way beyond legal advice. So the firm worked collaboratively with the clients to provide a range of tailored solutions, and we'll go into some of those in a minute. Now, I'm going to be asking you a few questions, if that's okay. Now,
That's great.
switch to me alone now because it looks better on the video. And first of all, you talk about it being a non-lawyer led initiative in your submission. That's not necessarily the same as non-lawyer led delivery. So to what extent is the delivery being through your management team or being outsourced to external specialists?
Yeah, there's no external specialists involved here. So we have a team of non-lawyers who do client listening with our top clients, and we get feedback from them. And some of the feedback is around kind of value-added services and where we can add value to our clients. And often these can be to do with their business goals and their personal goals, which aren't necessarily kind of legal related. And we have a team of support staff at Shoesmiths who can help actually deliver some of these. So that there's things like team coaching and mentoring support that we've been able to get our learning and development team involved in. So it's very much kind of our internal support teams supporting us, our clients.
I'm going to sort of pick you up on two words there, which I absolutely hate. The notion of a non-lawyer. I always think if I did a geography degree, would I refer to the rest of the world as non-geographers? I don't think so. And support, again, I mean, we're all, I think without the business managers, the firms couldn't make any money, and the partners need to be reminded of that very often. So I heard what you said, but I just really wanted to kind of share my soapbox points on those, because I actually do think that it's really important that the contribution of everybody in the team is given equal weight in the language as well as in the practice. But tell me more about your client excellence team. How is that adding value?
So again, that's people like the relationship managers who have this client-facing role. And I think the reason we do call them non-lawyers, I think it's quite unique that we do have non-lawyers who have a client-facing role at Shoesmiths and are looking at ways that we can add to our client relationships. So the client excellence team is trying to kind of bring that to life a bit more and to look at all the staff at Shoesmiths and how everybody contributes to the client experience. So it's not just the lawyers who do that, but it's all of the support teams as well. And client excellence is helping to bring those together and look at ways that kind of every interaction that we have with the client, how we can improve that and make it the very best it can be.
So who would be on that? I mean, you've talked about in general, but is it 10 people, 20 people? I mean, how big is the team, the client excellence team?
So the client excellence team at the moment, there's 10 people in that. So it's largely from the business development team, but we are looking to get people from the different support teams and directorates, as well as legal advisors, working on various projects. So we're going through a process at the moment which is looking at all of the interactions we have with clients and how we can improve those. And each of those projects will involve kind of small project teams to look at those, and that'll draw across the whole firm. So whilst the client excellence team is kind of at the core, it'll be a very kind of collaborative way of working. So
you're then creating almost like subgroups which then deal with particular projects as they emerge.
That's exactly right.
Excellent. The other, you also talk about a client forum in your submission, at a monthly client forum, and is that for clients as well, or is that only for people who work for Shoesmiths?
Client forum is so it's our chairperson, our chief executive, divisional heads, business development director, and we come together to share the client voice. So we share what clients are telling us about kind of their feedback on Shoesmiths or key areas that they want us to look at, areas we can improve, areas that we do very well. So it's basically bringing kind of that senior management team and those kind of the board of directors together to make sure that they're listening very carefully to the client voice and then can act on the feedback and ensuring that that's all factored into the decisions they're making kind of on strategy. So it is an internal group client forum, but it's very much about kind of shining that client voice into the decisions that they make.
So maybe bring a non-exec director in to be a genuine client possibly in the future, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at trying to set up a kind of a client forum that is made up of clients, so we can run ideas past those clients. So hopefully that's something that we'll look to kind of kick off this year. So yeah, exciting times.
Brilliant. And just the last question is, you mentioned a minute ago in the client forum that your CEO is involved. I mean, how active has their involvement been in this program?
Yeah, really active, actually. We've got a new CEO, so he just started in May, and he's been client partner for a number of our strategic clients for a long time, and his kind of investment in client relationship development and client listening has been particularly strong. So he's been a real advocate for this. So I think having him kind of at the helm, he's really supporting client excellence, and client excellence is a real kind of key point for his kind of strategic direction now. So the CEO will definitely be kind of spearheading this.
And is he also reaching out and talking to CEOs at clients or is that all done through your frontline advisors?
No, he does that as well. So we have our client listening program, which is kind of speaking to key clients, but then we also try and set up for our CEO and chairperson to speak to their kind of equivalents at our clients as well, so that they're speaking to their peers. So yeah, we have our own CEO and chairperson kind of listening program as well. So yeah, they're very, very involved in not just the relationships that they're kind of involved in and know about anyway, but going out to as many clients as they can to have those discussions.
Oh, that is so much magic to my ears, music to my ears, because for the forum for the last 20 plus years has been almost banging on in a sort of fairly aggressive way, saying that you really, your client CEO actually really does want to hear from you. And it's not just about you listening to them. It's about you sharing with them. How do you cope in a world where you report to your sales force because they're not used to that? How do you cope in a world where people ignore your email or whatever it happens to be? So I think that's really positive. And I think that's probably one of the reasons, again, why the judges were happy to give you the award. So if I may now, Nancy, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations again. There's a trophy winging its way through the post to you next week, which you can put in pride of place somewhere. Now that we're all hybrid, I'm not sure where that is, but I'm sure you'll work it out. And in the meantime, I would like to now thank you again, and we move on to the next category. So bye for now, everybody.
Thanks so much.
And this category is for exceptional achievement by an individual. And it's basically a merit category, and it's selected by the judges and actually sponsored by the Financial Times. Now, before I announce the winner, I'd like to show a short video in which various people close to the winner explain why they believe him to be a worthy winner.
Sort of the relationship has been one where he provided professional services to us as a company and to my team in particular, and built his own team to provide that service and essentially leapfrogged their competition to become our preferred supplier.
Energetic, very values focused, values driven. He is empathetic. He is challenging. But most of all, I'd say he's human. Always brings a human touch to a situation, and very interested in what makes people tick and their motivations and wanting to help them.
Never met anyone who is able to build consensus and move mountains in the way that he is. Things that seemed impossible.
The engagement and the friendliness, and yet the ability to still keep the focus and keep the drive is amazing, and hugely articulate, hugely thoughtful, and very strategic.
Ministers want to hear from people who challenge them and who have differences of view, because that is how you go about hearing what is happening in the economy and shape policy interventions in the best way. And I think that is something that this individual would do politely very well. If there was something that people needed to hear that they weren't hearing, then he would ensure that that happened.
A good client partner. He knew our people. He understood the business, and he was always good at being helpful in identifying things which he picked up elsewhere and which he wasn't sure that you knew, but he thought you ought to know.
We brought government and business together in a really focused way, and this person drove that and made that happen in a really very articulate and diplomatic way that was seamless. People didn't realize they were being steered in that direction, but we were, and it was brilliantly done.
Because of his formidable will, coupled with absolute vision, clarity of vision, which means that it may not happen immediately, but over time we will get to the right place every single time.
Felt nervous the first time I met him because of the sort of gravitas and standing, but he certainly put my fears to one side, and he is a very good leader and very approachable.
Someone who's certainly in my experience has demonstrated his commitment to social mobility, using his networks and his influence in his agency as a senior person in the professional services industry for the good, not just of our charity, but for the wider society.
He's definitely calm, definitely insightful, definitely authentic. I suspect my wife, who does know him very well, would call him charming.
He's very well networked, has a great sense of humour, and is very, very passionate about working with colleagues across the services sectors and helping people on a personal level where he can.
He likes people, he's very high energy, and he transmits enthusiasm.
I really like spending time with, and I noticed that from others when the opportunity arises to spend time with him, to have a meeting with him, they jump at the chance.
Exceptional achievement by the individual. And who is the winner? The winner is Nick Owen.
Very, very much indeed. I'm delighted to receive this. It's quite humbling to see all those people speaking about you on this screen. So firstly, I should apologise for the fact that I can't be there sort of live. I would have loved to have done that. It's great to receive this recognition from you, but also to recognise the continuing good work of the Managing Partners Forum and all that you do for the hundreds of professional partnerships that you work with. So thank you as well. Secondly, I'm absolutely sort of dumbstruck by what I've just heard, and I don't know how to thank you enough. And this arrived in the post literally about an hour ago, so I'm very grateful for that as well. It will be well used, obviously, but each time I use it, I will be reminded of obviously this event, but also all those comments that people have made. I don't really know what to say in this sort of instance, but one of the things that came out from that, I think, was around my fun and love of this profession. I do think the profession is an amazing asset for the country. I think our professions across professional services are incredibly important. They are the oil that keeps the machinery of this country going. And I've always had a great time doing it. So I think one thing I would say that came out from those comments is I have clearly enjoyed most of the moments of my career, and that's probably the most important thing for a professional services person, to actually enjoy what they do and to enjoy the people they do it with, both their clients and their teams. And I think the other thing that probably reflects on something that I know in my career, both at Anderson's in the early part of my career and more latterly with Deloitte, but as a client serving partner, and there are a couple of clients on there, but also as someone who led teams of people inside our own firms and across multiple firms, it's sort of trying to set the energy and build consensus that is important for people like us, things that have to be achieved with others, for others, through others. And I think the only way to do that is to always be very clear about what you're trying to do, have a strong vision, but also to take people on board appropriately. And that's almost to make the vision their vision as well, so that they know what's in it for them by coming on the journey with you. And I think, again, great partnerships work that way. I think great collaborations work that way across partnerships, and also great collaborations between professional services firms and their clients work because of shared purpose, shared goals, but everyone being absolutely clear why it's the right thing for them to do collectively and individually. So with that, I will say thank you again. I will enjoy every mouthful that comes from this once I've filled it, and look forward to seeing you again shortly, Richard, but also other people in our professions. Look forward to seeing you over the next several years. Thank you.
So we're now coming into the business theme. Let's remember what that's all about. And again, I read here, with almost everyone working from home for some of the time, a key challenge for management is how best to foster productive, healthy, and sustainable working practices, and sustain in first category, which is the best marketing campaign. And I'd like to invite Claire Mitchell from Sponsors Professional Marketing Mag to come and join us. Hi, Claire. Welcome.
Hi, Richard.
Delighted you can join us. Having missed a sponsor before, it's nice to have a real one here. Can't touch you, but you know what I mean. So who are the finalists for the category? So first of all, let's go through them. There are 3. Clark Hill, Gately, and I think last year's winners actually, Kingsley Napley. And it's over to you, Claire, to announce the winner.
So the winner is Clark Hill.
I'd now like to invite Susan Ahern. Welcome back, Susan. I think last time I saw you, we were on the stage at 2-3 years ago, possibly it was, when you won this award again. So congratulations. That's really, really exciting, and congratulations.
Thanks, Richard. Really, it's great to be here again.
There was just going to ask you a few quick questions, if I may. You've given us a really interesting analysis and about the Simply Smarter brand, and what makes it different from those of other large law firms? What would you say there?
Well, I think if we look at why we decided to undertake this project when we did, which was possibly an unusual time to take it on, right through the middle and end of the pandemic, our firm had been through a decade of very significant growth, and the nature of that growth meant that we had merged together multiple different law firm brands. And so we felt that it was very important, and in fact very critical, that we achieve a streamlined brand and a corporate identity and a complete integration culturally and strategically across the firm. So I think how we came at this was very much an inclusive process. We engaged with our business units, all of our different practices, our industry groups, and our different departments throughout the firm, as well as with our clients and others in the business community, to understand what was meaningful and who we are. So maybe the Simply Smarter was the tagline we arrived at, but it's more about the inclusive nature as we went along that journey. We wanted to unify the firm's cultural and business identity, both on the internal side and the external side, under a streamlined brand. But then we also wanted to execute a communications and a market engagement strategy after we had done that. So I think it was a twofold approach.
Fantastic. And are you finding the rebrand leading to common behaviours across the merged firms?
Yeah, I think anybody who works in a law firm will know that you very rarely have a fully unified voice on anything. And particularly when you're working again with groups of lawyers, there tends to be a risk-averse approach to anything new. But I would say universally, to a last department, to a last office, this has been a complete success. I think on the culture side, it has been very helpful for us all to be flying under one flag, as it were. I think it has made our identity much clearer out there in the market. We are a lot bigger than we were. We have undergone a decade of very significant growth. And so we are a large US law firm, but we do have an international footprint too. So I think we have a lot of different elements of diversity, and we're all working very well under our new brand.
One of the things that's always find quite interesting is the extent to which the strategic vision, which is set by your CEO, John Hensian, drives the agenda, but is also shaped by the feedback. So to what extent would you say that the vision was not just here it is, please implement it, but actually shaped by all these different people that you, whether it's steering committees, market data, surveys, client interviews, etc., the various elements that you brought together in particular around what was actually really mattered to the market that you serve?
Oh, that was fundamental to the entire project. We were not about a cosmetic overhaul. We had not had a rebrand in probably 2 decades. And so this was a big decision for the firm. But at its very core was that inclusivity, we're a very diverse firm in every respect that you can imagine, and every single, as I said, department, office, business unit in the firm was asked for feedback. We also, of course, took external feedback too. And I think that that's at the foundation of John Henchin's leadership also, is that inclusivity, that importance of culture, that importance on living our values, on reflecting our DNA in not only in the work we do, but also in the interactions we have with our clients, with our colleagues, people inside the firm, people outside the firm. So I think we would consider our brand the experience that anybody working inside or outside the firm has with anybody inside the firm.
Fantastic. And again, it's a marketing category. So what were the, let's call it the outreach, the marketing, what did the stats look like in connection with the launch of the brand?
Oh, well, we had many different ways of putting the brand out there. One that I would maybe pause on for a moment, that we've had an enormous success in, is on our social media, our digital outreach. We undertook quite a specific campaign. We're interested in the social campaign side as well as the in-person campaign, and of course, coming through the environment that we were all living through over the last number of years, that virtual outreach was particularly important. Our impressions on social went to 4.8 million last year. In fact, we're at 6.1 million already this year, and we're only halfway through the year. Our LinkedIn engagement went up by 420%, and our engagement rate, which is separate but also a very important element of that, is at about 10%, where the industry average is between 2 and 3%. So that is a huge success. We had a brand video as part of the launch. We have had up over 500,000 views of that brand video. We have various different video campaigns going out, month to month, and the views on those are very strong. I know you have a time limit here, so I could go on.
I think we'll probably have to call it a day, if I may, but not to worry. Look, thank you so much for joining us. I know we had a conversation a couple of days ago, and there are reasons why you have got to rush now, but thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations again. Really amazing result, and thank you. Bye for now.
Thanks so much, Richard. Great to see you.
Okay, great. Definitely. So the next one that we're going to be talking about is the Best People Initiative. And this one is sponsored by the CBI. And fingers crossed, we have Neville Eisenberg representing the sponsor CBI. He's on the CBI Council, so he's absolutely the right person. Hopefully he's joining us. Sir, welcome at last. I think we're going to have that speech re-recorded earlier, but this is good to see you on the stage. I knew that you could make it, but there you go.
Thank you, Richard.
Fabulous. Well, let's have a look at who are the finalists which have entered for the Best People Initiative. And the first one is Denton's. The second is Lubbock Fine. In third place, Shakespeare Martineau. And fourth is Waitman's. So let's see who came in second place. In second place is Denton's. Congratulations to them. And over to you, Neville, to announce the winner.
And the winner is Lubbock Fine.
And please welcome Robert Morley, who's the Chief Operating Officer at Lubbock Fine. And I'm going to be asking him some questions. I think you've probably worked out by now. So thank you, Neville. We'll catch up with you later.
Hi, Richard. Thank you.
How are you, sir? Congratulations. Very good news. And
very pleased.
We'll probably end up talking a bit about it, but it's an ultra flexible, smart working model, I think was the description that we came across. And what they were particularly interested, the judges, was by your forethought of the need to make this shift before the pandemic, which is pretty amazing. So switch to me now rather than that. So just sort of, can I ask you a few questions, which just tell me a little bit about the model, to begin with. What is the smart working model that you and others came up with?
Well, in a sentence, I suppose it's, as you said, ultra flexible. So we the reason it's sort of started before the pandemic was we were looking at implementing a sort of agile culture change throughout the firm. And we'd already sort of maxed out on office space, and with growth plans, we were looking at, you know, the longer term real estate implications. So the combination of those two factors caused us to look at it. Then, of course, the pandemic struck. In lockdown for a year, companies starting to move out of it, were starting to explore various hybrid models. There was news from the, you know, the big four about what they were doing, and various opinions from returning to the office to flexible models, 2 days a week in the office. And we thought, well, actually, if you start from scratch, you know, what model would you design if rather than start from what freedom should we allow, why don't we start from a position of 100% freedom in location and time, and then see what business controls we need to implement to make that actually workable in terms of a business.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I remember years ago reading that apparently Google, they got very bored of signing expense chits or something. So they conducted a survey, said, did management add value? Can we do without management? And you'll be pleased to hear the answer was no, they couldn't manage without management. But did you actually get the leadership team genuinely to embrace smart working? Is that something that you found people paid lip service, or did they genuinely see there's something that was really helpful and important to the firm?
I think there was broad acknowledgement that it was a good idea, but we agreed as a team that we'd give it a try, so to speak. So there was some healthy skepticism, but when we implemented it, it's proven to be very successful.
One of the things that we'll talk a bit in a minute about Net Promoter Score and clients, but there's a comment that you want people to remain reasonably contactable by clients between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Well, how would you define reasonably contactable?
Well, this was a really important important part of the model. So we were struggling with the idea of letting people work when they want. But then if a client wants to get hold of you or a colleague wants to get hold of you, how do we handle that? So we decoupled working from being contactable. And we had this simple rule of you can literally work when you want to. And interestingly, the thought behind that was triggered by a very interesting member of staff who we discovered by accident was working from sort of 11 at night till 3 in the morning on a fairly normal basis in the office. And having ascertained that she wasn't crazy and didn't have some severe, personal problems, we embarked on the idea of best personal hours. So we accepted that actually people work at different times of the day, their natural body clock and cycle. So we introduced that freedom for working, but being contactable, to answer your question, is all of our members of staff have Microsoft Teams on their smartphones, and they will take a call or reasonably respond to the call a short time after being contacted.
Excellent. So just a quick question, final one now, if I may, but what's the impact been on employer productivity and on client care?
Well, I think the nervousness was about, would the entire business fall apart if we implemented this flexibility? But actually the reverse has happened. We achieved a 12.4% increase in productivity across the board, which obviously is a huge financial benefit. Coming out of the sort of the great resignation that was happening in 2021, we moved from the risk of that through to having 0 unplanned departures from the firm. Client satisfaction up tremendously, staff satisfaction up tremendously. And we ran a Net Promoter Score towards the end of last year, scoring us a plus 75, which is globally considered to be an excellent score. So
excellent.
It's been a tremendous success.
Robert, I'm going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much for joining us. Congratulations again to Lubbock Fine, not a firm that possibly the law sector knows very well, given you're a medium-sized accountancy firm, but just showing that actually when it comes to implementing new ideas, no sector should be thinking of themselves as being preeminent. There you go.
Thank you, Richard.
So over to you, and do send our congratulations to Marco, I know is in the audience as well. Doing is about best strategic reimagination. And before the winners announced, please welcome Sally Ashworth of our sponsors, Harbour Business Review. Hopefully you can join us, Sally. Brilliant, you're there. Nice to see you. Something slightly obscuring your camera at the moment. Awesome. That's more like the real person. I know. In the room, I know, in your office as well. It's all good. But anyway, thank you again. Welcome, Sally. And let's run through the finalists for your category. So we have Arthur Cox. We have Bills in Sunberg, a US firm, which some of you may be familiar with. And we have Shoesmiths. And the big question is, who is going to be the winner? So let's first look at who's second place. Hang on.
Oh,
No, we're not quite there. It's all good. So who is in second place is Bills in Sunberg. And now it's over to you, Sally, now to announce the winner.
I'm sorry for spoiling the thunder. The winner is Shoesmiths.
And fantastic. And I would hopefully Tony Randall, who is the partner and head of client strategy, can join us to talk to us a bit more about his particular entry. Congratulations, Tony. That's very good. Best strategic reimagination. That's a pretty tough challenge to get, and you won 2 others as well, so everyone's going to think it's a stitch up, and I promise you it isn't, because we have 3 independent sets of judges and they each independently came to the conclusion, and then they suddenly found out, oh gosh, we're all the same firm that we're making for the winners. So there you go. So what I'll do now is I'll come back to me, and if I may just ask you a few questions, if I could. Basically, as I understand it, you were trying how to build back better. You had launched a service called Shoesmiths 8 Connected Services, and that there were lots of media reports going on that other people had perhaps struggled investing a lot. So you were actually looking more for collaborations with third parties to get to market quicker. So talking there about collaboration with third parties wherever possible, I mean, how did you go about selecting those third parties?
Yeah, great question. Well, first of all, lovely to be here, Richard, and thank you very much for the award. It was nice to hear it earlier than it should have been announced. All very good, all very good. So in terms of selecting our partners, you always have to start with deciding what problem it is that you're trying to solve, because you never start with the technology or the innovation and then try and find a problem to solve. You start with the problem. And if you do that, actually, you can put together a specification pretty easily and go out into the market and look for it. And in fact, for example, earlier on, my colleague Simon was talking about the AI brain. That we've partnered with a great AI platform called Thought River. There are other AI platforms out there, but it was Thought River that actually had the platform that was best suited to the need we needed to meet. And Simon was explaining how he took 2 years to train that AI brain to ultimately exceed the average abilities of a human lawyer. What he didn't tell you, actually, is that the machine overtook Simon rather earlier.
It's a bit like AlphaGo, isn't it? If you go back to DeepMind and how they managed to beat the Go master of the world, which if you're into Go is virtually impossible. Going back to Shoesmiths 8 for a minute, which, as you mentioned, are 8 connected services. Are any of them proving more popular than others? And has that possibly shifted since you launched it?
Really interesting, actually. So the 2 that are proving hugely popular are tech related, not surprisingly. So AI contract review, and also we have software for the management of matters by in-house legal teams who, of course, don't have to record their time. So typically don't have anything more than an Excel spreadsheet. So not surprisingly, both of those solutions meet very strong needs. But interestingly, innovation isn't all about tech. And actually, one of our most popular products is a financial services compliance product where we have just totally reimagined how to offer that service to clients. And that actually has been our most successful product over the last 8 months. We developed it in just 4 weeks from start to finish because the need was so clear. We had a clear way of meeting the need, and the demand has been absolutely fantastic. But it is important to remember that innovation isn't just about tech. It's about thinking about clever new ways of delivering.
And going back to that, I mean, one of the challenges about having a suite of products is that some can get, I will say, lost along the journey, or possibly some are only relevant to a subset of your clients, and therefore they don't necessarily want to know about the other ones in the suite. How do you actually deal with that promotional challenge?
Yeah, it's a great question. Our reason for launching the suite of products was to meet client needs. And you're absolutely right. In some cases, it's a smaller set of clients that have that need, but we will never take the view that we will withdraw a product simply because it isn't one of the most popular. As long as our products are meeting some of our clients' needs, then they'll always be there.
Thanks. And there's reference obviously to Shoesmiths 8, but also in your submission, it talks about 2 more coming through. Does that mean you become Shoesmiths 10? And do you see a limit to the number of products that could be incorporated?
Well, no, given the investment we've made in trademarks, etc., it certainly won't be changing from 8 to 10. Basically, we have 8 categories of products, and all the new products that come along fit within one of those 8 categories.
I understand. And are you setting clear revenue targets for Shoesmiths 8? And are these being achieved?
Absolutely not. In fact, our main objectives for Shoesmiths 8 were meet client needs, spark creativity in our people, to have develop new ideas for products, raise profile for innovation, and obviously this is partly achieving that.
Sure.
And income is incidental from the success of all those other things.
But you still have generated revenues, as I understand.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, I mean, the revenue we've generated has actually far exceeded our expectations. Yeah.
Well, you can't ask for more than that. Thank you very much. And, again, congratulations, Tony. I think you've got a fantastic story there, and strategic reimagination is definitely the right description of where you're coming from. And
thanks so much,
long may it continue. And you're also appearing in the PM Forum conference in September as well. So chance for people to catch up there with you as well, which is awesome. The next one is the community theme. Now, the community theme aims at, I'll just read you what it says. Given finance and cash flow carry most weight in partner direct discussions, it's easy for community contribution to be given lower priority, yet this remains an excellent way for firms to develop their people in terms of both individual skills and teamwork, and to enhance their firm's employer brand for new recruits, as well as boost the engagement of current and employees. There is only one category, so this is also, if you like, the best of theme, and I'm absolutely delighted that Larissa Hale can join us today on behalf of the business and the community. So welcome, Larissa, to the stage, and still looking very, very suntanned after your honeymoon, so congratulations on that.
Hi, Richard. Thank you.
All right, so let's move on. Who are the people who are up for the final for this one? And because it's a single category, we actually have a few more than some of the other categories. So firstly, we have Arthur Cox, Brachers, iResearch, Shoesmiths, heard of them before, Strook and Levan, and William Fry. So we have then 6 entries. So let's just run through who's in second place. And the second place is 2 firms, Arthur Cox and iResearch. And over to you now, Larissa, to tell us who the winner is.
And the winner is Strook and Levan. Congratulations.
Fantastic. And I would now like to welcome Kerry Cooperman, who is the Special Counsel and Director of Pro Bono at Strook. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Larissa. This is it's a wonderful honor for our firm and our colleagues here. We're very grateful.
Let me just kind of talk a little bit about what the citation from the judges said. They said that the COVID pandemic brought many challenges to firms, that the winning firm is concerned not just about its own welfare, but also about the thousands of small businesses, non-profits and sole traders who would struggle as the economy locked down and who might not have survived. And you put together an amazing alliance. And my first question really is this is maybe a UK perspective, but certainly from what I can see, New York law firms have a reputation for being highly competitive. I think that's probably an elegant way of putting it. So how did you go about persuading 25 large law firms, 7 legal services providers, and Morgan Stanley to join your Small Business Legal Relief Alliance in a matter of weeks?
Well, Richard, it's not easy at all. It doesn't sound easy, and in fact, it's not easy. But I think we had some advantages that others didn't, and I think certain of those advantages arose from the fact that we've done this work before, and we've done it quite a few times before. Going back to the aftermath of 9/11, we created a somewhat similar small business emergency legal relief initiative. And in a series of local, regional, national, even international disasters that followed, we have forged and then honed our ability to do disaster relief. So we were sort of primed, if you will, or ready when the moment came. And that's one of the things that Strzok prides itself on, is its ability to react, to stand up, to activate when many others are paralyzed, and understandably paralyzed and shut down as a result of crises and disasters. So we've done this before, and I think that's been very important for us.
Yeah, and interesting, you probably wouldn't know this, well, certainly wouldn't, but 20 years ago, the first time we ran these awards, we actually had, I think it was even Giuliani, I can't remember. Anyway, we had a New York firm coming over because it was literally a month or two after 9/11. So there you go. So history repeats itself, you could be. One of the things I found particularly interesting about your submission was this notion of reframing, which is a term that psychologists use a lot, but actually helping your lawyers not thinking of themselves as lawyers, but members of a rapid response team. Can you talk us a bit through about how that came up with and the impact it had?
You know, Richard, it's a very different way, I think, to think about, for lawyers in particular, and I think business people as well, to think of themselves in this way. And I think it's one of the innovations of our program in particular. We modeled this program, and we modeled on our approach really on the medical emergency disaster legal response framework. So focusing on not just quality, which is important, but speed of response, triaging, customization, and thinking of ourselves as first line emergency relief responders, sort of wearing that hat as lawyers. It's sort of a different mindset, but it's one that we've been cultivating for a number of years. So while it may, I think, be less familiar of a frame of mind and a philosophy for lawyers and business people who haven't done it in the past, many of our lawyers have, and supported by our management executive team, we're actually quite used to doing this at this point. So it's not quite as unfamiliar to us.
I think it's genius personally, but anyway, that's another story. What sort of issues, and we talked a bit earlier about the sort of organizations that you were tackling, individuals, small organizations who were struggling through the pandemic. What sort of issues were emerging that your response team were being asked to resolve?
One of the challenges, I think, was that we were responding to such a wide range of issues. This was a crisis, of course, that wasn't limited geographically. It was affecting everybody. So we saw literally dozens and dozens, maybe more than that, scores of different sorts of issues, and thankfully had the infrastructure and the team with 26 large US-based law firms handling it. We were able to cover the quite wide spectrum. I would say probably the two main issues that we saw overwhelmingly, what I would call landlord-tenant issues. So most of our small business and nonprofit clients that we supported were facing existential crises in a number of ways, but one of them was the likelihood and possibility of getting evicted due to the inability to pay rent. We had hundreds of businesses that were coming to us with the prospect, in some cases the immediate prospect, of being kicked out of their locations and therefore having to shut down. That was a very important one. I think bankruptcy issues became very important for us, and we were able to very quickly address those. And of course, grants and loans, government provided and private provided, were very important, and navigating that process in the US was very challenging at the outset of the pandemic, and in many ways still is. So those are some of the important ones, and there are many.
Thanks very much. And can I ask a final question? And we are
Please.
coming up for time with Perry now. Are you going to continue your good work once the pandemic is behind us?
This program, the Small Business Legal Relief Alliance, is continuing to operate, and we will be continuing to support these small businesses and evolving with them and evolving with their challenges into the future. And we're very grateful to the participating law firms, legal service organizations, Morgan Stanley as well, for staying with us and for evolving with us. So the answer is a resounding yes to that.
Oh, that's really great. Well, look, we must thank you again, Kerry, and thank you, and great to have your input and to see that there's some amazing things happening across the world. And it's great that you took the time to enter for these awards. I know you went in last year. This year you've won, so congratulations.
Thank you, Richard, and thanks to everyone.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're on the home straight, and with the other two Best in Theme awards. Best in Client Theme. And these are the finalists. A&L Goodbody for collaboration with clients, and Shoesmiths, who won both new and enhanced solutions. But we're going to have to find out which one is the theme winner, because that isn't obvious, I suspect, for you. So let's now move on and let's look who is the winner. And the winner is Shoesmiths. So please welcome back Nancy Allen. So okay, so Nancy, tell me just a quick question, but how do you feel about your firm winning a Best in Theme award as well as the category award?
I think we're absolutely delighted with that. It's great. We do so much work and with our clients and around kind of client focus. So to get recognised for the overall theme is really exciting for us.
Fantastic. Well, I shall leave you with that happy thought and look forward to the trophy, because you don't just get one trophy now, you're going to get two of them. So something even better, as they say. So congratulations again, Nancy. And I will now, if I may, move on to the next category.
Thanks
Bye
so
for
much.
now. Looking at the Best in Business theme. And these are the finalists. And again, these are all the winners we've had to date, so you will know exactly who they are. We have Clark Hill for their marketing campaign, if you recall. We have Lubbock Fine for their Smart People initiative. And we've just heard from Peter regarding strategic reimagination. So let's move on and let's actually work out who is the winner here. So the winner for the Best in Business theme is Lubbock Fine. And I'd like to congratulate Mark, hopefully he's still with us, Robert. Hopefully you're still with us. So congratulations, Robert. You actually won. How do you feel about winning a Best in Theme award?
Absolutely thrilled. On behalf of the firm, just, thank you to the judges. Thank you to yourself. We're very, very happy.
Brilliant. Well, we've obviously had a good conversation before, so I won't need to go through any of it again, but just from our side to say that, we think you're a very worthy winner, and the fact that you were thinking about it before the pandemic, and they always say chance favors the well-prepared. So you clearly were well prepared when this very unlikely chance of a pandemic every 100 years, whatever it is, emerged. So congratulations on that. So
thank you very much.
And do thank the team, because I know it's not you personally that would have made this possible. That really concludes the awards for this year. And I wanted to congratulate all the winners and say better luck next year to everyone else. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully see you next year for the 21st anniversary of these unique awards. And hopefully, one never quite knows in life, they'll be face to face. So thank you again.